Welcome once again to Hunter's Entertainment on Twitch.tv. I am Noxweiler Burf, your game master and guide through a dark and challenging world of survival horror. Tonight, as we do every Tuesday evening, we're playing Outbreak Undead. This game system is not for the faint of heart, and I, as the game master, have confirmed consent with each and every one of my players. Our lines and veils have been very firmly drawn, and we have safety protocols in place to assist and protect everyone at the table tonight. We ask for your consent too, and we encourage you to read the content warning very closely. This game offers us all opportunities to explore dark themes and to shine a light on the human condition in the safe confines of our imagination. But it takes bravery to do so, and it also takes the support of every person at this table. It takes your support. We couldn't tell this story without you, our audience, and we're very thankful and respectful of that fact. Not everything that we offer in this horror game is going to be suited for each and every viewer. The content warnings should guide you. Not every character played here tonight has the same objectives and motivations. Some are working directly against the other players and are in communication with dangerous outside forces. Player versus player conflict, character versus character conflict may occur. We have come to the understanding that we accept this within our circle, and we will proceed very cautiously as we undertake this narrative together. You see, in this world, there are no magical swords to be discovered, no valiant knights or castle walls to hide safely behind. The dangers here are far worse than dragons and magic. They wear the face of a world that died so very long ago. They are the echo of a dying, gasping civilization, one that has barely struggled to hold on long after a catastrophic event has wiped the majority of humanity off the face of the planet. Still, in the greatest of darknesses, we hope to prove that light still exists and that it burns the brightest in that darkness. I would like to thank both JB Jara and Alex Hillman and the entire Hunters team for allowing us to make this campaign possible. Without their steadfast work behind the scenes to ensure that this is possible, we simply would not have a campaign to share with you tonight. We are very grateful. Please sign up to the Scry program in the panels below and engage directly with the communities of the apocalypse. You will take on the role of a survivor and help to divert resources and goods to where you think that they are most needed. Your choices will be the difference between life and death, and they're linked directly to the settlements of the Rag and Bone universe. I cannot stress this enough. The choices that you make will very much affect the game and the campaign as we move forward. If you choose to support a group or a settlement, that group or settlement will flourish. If you do not, they may wither and slowly recede from the universe, no longer available. Pay close attention to the map and everything that changes. There will be many adjustments that come to the Scry over the next couple of weeks, and we hope that you join us in that journey. So far, the work that we've done together has helped us to direct the design for that program. And as we move forward in this campaign, I think that you will find that there are a great many things that are available to you as our viewers to directly affect. Our tireless Undead moderators are in the chat right now, and they're prepared to help you by answering any questions that you may have. They can support you in your efforts to interact with the Scry or answer questions about the narrative. This is an ongoing campaign, but I think you will find if you are new here, it's very easy to jump right in and to enjoy the story from this point forward. Please, if you enjoy this content, continue to make noise for us on the social media and help us to grow and bring more survivors into the fold. Join into our Discord and connect with others who you feel might enjoy this particular brand of Dark Ride. Again, we couldn't do this without our audience, so we would like to see that audience continue to grow. Enough of all of that, however. Allow me to introduce you to the players in tonight's little nightmare. Michelle, would you like to say hello to everyone, talk a little bit about the things that you're doing elsewhere on the internet, and tell us a little bit about your character?
Sure. Hey, kids. I don't know why I said that. Hello, people of the internet. I'm Michelle Bradley. You can find me on the internet at I am Chubby Bunny, mostly on Twitter these days. I'm here every Tuesday, obviously, and it's super fun and scary. Every Wednesday, starting tomorrow, you can start seeing me on the official Paizo's Twitch channel. We're starting a new campaign called Scoured Stars. That's a Starfinder campaign where I play a giant alien, like moth royalty girl, and it's pretty exciting and complicated. So tune in tomorrow at 6 p.m. for that. Also, you can find me on the Total Nerd YouTube channel. That's also owned technically by Ranker. We talk about video games and we do live plays of games over there. It's really fun.
Thank you again for being with us. We're excited to see if Juniper survives her current predicament.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Would you
last
talk a little bit about Juniper?
Yes, I forgot about Juniper somehow. The last time we saw her, she was hanging out with Digger still. We were trying to escape another zombie horde. Romero horde, and there was a trap laid for us with Romero's hanging in trees where the ropes were cut, so they broke off and they started chasing us. And I believe we were confronted by people from the Citadel, I think, but it was still not wrapped up, so who knows?
We will find out very shortly. Markia, would you like to talk a little bit about the things that you're doing elsewhere on the internet and the character that you'll be playing tonight?
Hello, I'm Markia McCarty. I'm an interviewer, host, narrator, voiceover person, of course, TTRPG player for here, and other shows that you can see me in on Mondays. We are doing a Kids on Bike campaign with a Roll20 app. That's Monday mornings if you're on the Pacific Coast, which is even earlier in the morning than it used to be, 8 a.m. Pacific time. And with that, it's spooky small town adventures in a suburb of Chicago called Techburg. And I'm a spiritual goth DJ that happens to be 11 and a half years old. And in a recent episode was turned into a giant turnip. But I got better. So there's that. You can also see me on Something Scary. Go to youtube.com/snarled. I have an animated horror series. And so it's animated horror during the week. And there's also a podcast you can find on Spotify, iTunes, and all the such. We have a live show that's coming up, Something Scary Live. And that'll be on April 8th, 8 p.m. PST. And with that, we will have a number of guests. We'll talk horror, and along with a narration of stories and a meet and greet. It's going to be a really good time. That's going to be on loopedlive.com. And go ahead and follow me on Instagram or Twitter or whatever at Markia McCarty, and you can find out more. As for Achira found out in the last episode that a person that she was starting to be extremely close to, Arya, was decapitated, and she ended up finding her head amongst the debris in the same location where a gigantic Romero that apparently had been stalking her for months was also in that location, although they ended up defeating that Romero as far as we know. So to go along with those happy fun times, she came to the logical conclusion that the Citadel was responsible for this, that going off of the information that she has traced their tracks back to their base and has discovered that that base was a base that she used to be a part of earlier during the apocalypse. She has been found out while she was staking them out and is now swinging to attack as opposed to giving up and getting captured.
Shira is not one to give up easily. We'll see how that resolves itself very shortly. Luis, welcome back. Could you tell us a little bit about what you're doing on the internet and also who you'll be playing tonight?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Luis Carrazzo. I'm an actor. I have two commercials that have started to air. Um, not as exciting as a narrative that you get swept in like what we're doing here, honestly. But hey, I'm a helpful Honda guy for a little while, and I'm in a cool Ruffles commercial. And so you get to see a different side of what I do if you catch any of those. Couple things coming up. I talk about this short film that I'm really proud of called Of Hearts and Castles that just got into a really big film festival in the UK. And I will, if you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, then you will see me post about it. I guess I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but the short film is called Of Hearts and Castles. And if you search for that, then you'll be able to find where it's what festival it's being shown in at the moment. Um, I'm playing Lampwick, and this is becoming more and more one of my favorite, um, I guess, roles. He's just taking me for a ride, and I mean, and so are the rest of the people here. You guys are all taking me for a ride, and it's part of what I love about Tuesday nights. Lampwick has seemed to have joined the Shepherds, um, which I guess some people might call a cult. Um, but they're a powerful group. And last we saw, Lampwick was chatting it up with Rowan at this encampment that the Citadel is at. And we're trying to figure out how to strike some sort of a deal. Um, yeah.
Lampwick has been brokering peace between two very dangerous factions of the apocalypse. I'm very excited to see what his silver tongue is able to accomplish. Last but not least, we have Alquin joining us once again. Thank you so much for being with us, friend. Could you tell us a little bit about the things that you're doing elsewhere and the character that you'll be playing tonight?
I'm Alquin Gersh. I am a TTRPG developer and streamer. Right now, I'm actually working on a supplement for Outbreak Undead called Danse Macabre, which takes the Outbreak Undead setting back to the High Middle Ages, just before the Renaissance, during the time of the Black Plague. So look for that. We'll have that for you this year. I think we're going to be streaming some of it as well. So hopefully you get a chance to check that out. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter under Different Elves. That's different_elves. On my Twitch channel right now, I am streaming my live plays of Final Fantasy XIV, the massively multiplayer online role-playing game. So that's pretty fun. If you want to come by and hang out with me while I play that, that's a good time. You can also see me coming up soon in a show using the Cyberpunk Red system on the Q Times Twitch channel. So if you're not already following them, go check them out. They're cool friends of ours. I am playing Kusanagi, who this group has met before, and some pretty crazy stuff went down. I got separated from the group, or I basically left the group with the help of Rowan, and made my way to the Citadel, where I've been trying to make myself useful. And I'm very happy to have a lot of very well-armed people around me taking care of me. So I guess we'll see how that goes.
I believe we will. Thank you again for being with us. As a special reward to all of you for joining in and supporting Rag and Bone over these few months, we do have some special gifts that we've made your personal survival perhaps a little more bearable. If you would like, you may find on Drive-Thru RPG our free Content Friday offerings, and each of those is specifically focused on a faction or a group of the Rag and Bone universe. Currently, there are 2 installments available, and there will be more every single month throughout the year. If you'd like to directly connect and learn more about the players, their characters, and about the world itself, that is the place to do it. It's absolutely free. You can go download that at Drive-Thru RPG. And again, we're very thankful for everything that you, our audience, bring to the table tonight. Enough of all of that, however. There's very little time left. It continues to grow dark. We should move forward. We'll be right back. The world ended on Monday, May 29th, 1995. The sky fell and the dead would not die. Civilization quickly collapsed and the sickness spread like lightning to even the most remote reaches of the world. They called it many things, but it started out simply as another round of the summer flu. It became something far worse. H195, commonly called the Legacy or the Reaper's Kiss, was as deadly as it seemed to be, but it became even more infectious after the dead passed away. At first, it seemed as if no one was immune to the airborne strain, but eventually it appeared that 0.01% of the population had a natural immunity. However, even those lucky souls couldn't withstand a concentrated introduction of the virus through a bite or a deep scratch or blood-on-blood contact. The end of days were like wildfire, and throughout the world, people sought security where there was none to be had. There was nowhere to hide from the end of the world. Entire cities burned, but miraculously, some still survived, and for the next 25 years, life has struggled forward. The world is a fractured place now. There are scattered remnants, broken cities, and very little hope. But some seek to make civilization anew. The Rag and Bone is a network of merchants that travel the old railways. They walk carefully between communities, gathering resources and redistributing them, selling and buying. The Ender's Line is one such group, and they are able to connect the small and scattered outposts and settlements across what used to be known as the Midwestern United States. This group, oftentimes, through the dangers that they traverse, are able to bring much needed items and life-saving equipment to communities that need it the most. They are a lifeline in a world that now fully belongs to the dead. Standing before you The barrel of the rifle is lowered down. You were scouting in this area, Achira. You thought that you were free and clear. You thought that you were well hidden. You had been carefully working your way to this location over the course of the past week, perhaps longer. After the encounter at the campsite, you had lost Juniper and Digger. You had discovered her head, not her body, but her head. It had been viciously severed. It was no attack from the Romeros that took her life. Someone murdered her. She had been executed. Of that much you're certain. You've worked your way here, climbed up onto this ridge, and carefully watched the valley below. There are walls. There is cyclone razor wire, makeshift barricades, abandoned vehicles that have been stacked that produce a very effective early perimeter to this place. The grasses and foliage have been killed off easily all the way around this facility. There is a windmill that has been constructed in the center of it, and a number of buildings and tents that have also been added there. This is the Citadel. But you recognize it as something else. For some time, many years ago, this was your home. The military that had found you and brought you in operated out of this base. When it was so still new to everyone, the way that the world had slowly collapsed and fallen away. You were in Atlanta. You had secreted away into a shipping container. You had become disjointed, and it had taken many weeks before someone finally opened that door. You nearly died. And when you emerged, you were no longer in familiar territory. You were no longer home. And you had no way to return. This became sanctuary. But the things that you did to survive, you've told no one. You might have told her if she had lived. But it's too late for that now. The figure had announced themselves. They're not trying to kill you. That gives you an advantage. The gun is leveled down on you. You see a woman. She has dark skin, a network of scars across her neck and the side of her cheek. Her dark hair is pulled back in a tight bun. She's wearing military fatigues and what looks like a makeshift flak jacket, bolted with metal plates. She has a sidearm and a boot knife. Some distance behind her, two other individuals stand. The gun is leveled down upon you. All right, Achira. Put it down. You rolled, turned, and slashed out. Is that correct?
I did. I didn't realize that there were 2 more people behind this person. I'm sticking with the action, though.
Very well. Achira, I'd like for you to attack with your... Are you using your scythe here, or are you using the makeshift weapon that you're carrying?
I'm using my scythe because I have the combat knife that I collected hidden on my body.
Very well. So with that, Achira, I'd have you make the roll. I'm going to give you a single black die of difficulty just because you are on the ground as this person is standing above you. You will be able to slash out, though, and tell me how you do.
Okay. Three successes.
3 degrees of success. This individual is going to perform a dodge. Could you do me I can roll for you if you'd like, or you can roll 2 blue dice.
I can do that.
Just so that we have your initiative order. 11. All right. So the individual in front of you is not going to allow you to so simply slash across their midsection. They immediately take a large step backwards. They are attempting a dodge, and they do so quite quickly, but they move back and reposition themselves. The gun is still leveled upon you. You have 1 degree of success, however, after their dodge. So you have still succeeded in cutting them. Is there anything that you would like to do to alter this result?
I'm not going for their midsection. I'm trying to get them to drop their gun.
So you're going for their hands.
Yeah.
So you slashed out at their hands. They stepped backwards with only 1 success. I can say that you would hit them, but it's going to be a very superficial strike, and it would not be in their hands. They're going to be either hit in the leg or in the midsection.
I'll do leg.
Okay, so you swing forward, they step backwards, guns still leveled upon you, and you do slash. You are going to hit them. And you hear a curse as the individual with the gun on you looks down, and you do see the slash in their fatigue pants and a pool darkening on the side. You have managed to bleed them. They're bleeding across their leg, and it is dripping down onto their combat boots.
So they're distracted and looking down?
They're certainly not paying attention as to you in the way that they should be.
Does Achira know them by any chance?
You do recognize them. You had only seen them in the background of some of the Citadel forces that were present at Grey Ridge. You do not recall their name, however.
Achira is going to try to, well, since they're distracted and looking down, I'm trying to think of what knocking the gun out of their hand, like what stat that would be.
If you
be another slashing motion, not at them, but
it would be a brawl. So I would have you make a brawl check, and it would be contested. So they would also make a check and try to prevent you from doing so.
How about I just kick their wound?
Okay. So go ahead and attempt to make a brawl check for me, please.
Do you want me to roll any speed dice or anything with that?
Yeah, I need 2 speed dice, and I need a black die of difficulty added to it. Again, because you are still on the ground and they're standing above you.
Is there anything that can go into that brawl?
Do you have any equipment that will help you with a brawling check?
I mean, I've got climbing gear. Maybe that rope could do something.
So you have climbing gear, but that's not going to help you in the brawl. So it's going to be a straight roll, Markia. And let me know how Achira does. I'm going to make a roll for your opponent. However, I will say there are two other individuals that are further back that have immediately taken notice that this is going sideways quickly. And so they are taking position and they're also going to act. So that's 1 degree of failure on your brawl as you kind of lunge forward trying to hit towards the wound.
Am I in a location hazard?
No, this is not a location hazard per se. It's not the location that's hazardous. It is the encounter.
I will do 3 competency points to make it 2 degrees of success.
All right. And so if you do that, you're going to have 2 degrees of success, which is going to contest the dodge. And this time, your opponent does manage to negate those 2 degrees of success, bringing you down actually to 1 degree of failure. There's a degree of difference in their favor. And so in their favor, with that degree of difference, I'm going to say that she is going to attempt to kick you. So if you would like to try to contest that with a dodge, you may do so.
Could my diving training value bonus go into that?
I appreciate the extent that you are searching for something that would help you in the situation. Unfortunately, you are on the ground. I don't see a way for that to be directly relevant.
Okay. Are there still 1 difficulty dice? You want me to do speed again, or
Yes, please continue your speed because that is going to determine some of these results. All right. So is there anything you wish to do to mitigate that, or are you going to take this kick?
I don't have enough to mitigate it, so.
Yeah. And so because of the successes and the ability for them to then convert these into degrees of difficulty, I'm going to turn this into a disarming attack. And the kick is going to knock your weapon out of your hand and leave you without a weapon. So you are specifically, you have a 3 and a 1 on your damage track as the combat boot strikes into your elbow as you swing forward, and it kicks out the scythe from your hand, and you drop backwards as the figure pushes forward with the gun in front of you. 2 others, the 2 in the back, level weapons on you as well, although they seem, you notice now, to be very nonchalant about this situation. They don't seem really concerned about the fact that this is sort of turning into a fight. They seem very confident that they're going to be able to stop whatever's happening at a moment's notice should they decide to get involved. But they level the guns. They've raised them. One is a semi-automatic weapon, and it's pointed at you. The other is another rifle, but it's kind of low slung right now, and they're holding it up. And the figure steps forward again with the gun. Damn it, I'm supposed to take you in alive. Don't make me go back a failure.
All of us fail.
That's how it's going to be. She pulls the hammer back on the gun. You have whatever intention you would like to do at this point, Achira, you may do if you choose. If you don't want to speak with them or try to negotiate here, you can start fighting again.
I know you. I know your face. I don't know your name. But you were here when I was here before. And you know what they had me do, what they had all of us do while we were here. I'm not going back in there.
She looks to you, kind of confused, and starts to kind of search your face. Sister, I think you've got me confused for someone else. You're coming with us whether you want to or not. This is not a negotiation. I pull the trigger, you die. Is that what you want?
I forget the name of the general that was the leader of the base while Achira was there, but she would say his name right now.
All right. I don't know who you are to know that name, but he's not here anymore.
I know he's not.
Okay. You're coming with us. End of story. Stand up. She threatens you, pushes the gun a little closer. Do you wish to resist?
Achira's going to stand up. This is me warning you. It is a bad idea to take me in there. You can just walk away from this, or I guess hobble away from this right now. Nothing good can come with me being in there.
This is me hitting you with the back of my gun. And she swings the butt of her rifle into your face. Would you like to try to dodge that, Achira?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so make a dodge roll for me. Go ahead and drop your speed dice onto it. Are you standing as
Yeah.
she had? Yeah. So you no
Because
longer have the speed die as you're kind of moving up, and I expect that you're on edge. So I'm not going to give you a difficulty dice here. So you have a straight roll. However, it is going to be contested. So I need to see how you do here.
Since I'm standing, is there any way that the muscle memory reflex of diving can work in any way here to dodge from this swing?
I don't see how that would work in this situation. I apologize. I encourage you to continue to try and find ways for that to work for you. But unless you're telling me that your dodge is going to be to drop to the ground, again, I don't think that I could allow it. Now, if you do wish to go back to lying on the ground prone, it would make sense to me.
Totally understand that. No, I'll do the straight roll. Thank you.
All right. 1 degree of success, which is very good. Do you wish to alter this at all?
I'll put 2 more into it. I just don't want her to have another injury.
All right. So with 2 additional, you actually do negate her successes, which means that you succeed with a single degree of difference on this encounter. So rather than having her succeed on the strike, she misses. You step back as she swings her rifle forward. At this point, the other 2 individuals with guns take 2 steps forward. They're pointed at you. You hear one of them, "All right, enough of that." "Hands in the air."
Achira puts her hands up.
And we'll come back to you. Juniper, you are on top of this way station, this concrete and cinder block building that has been erected by the Ender's Line. You have been traveling through the wilderness now with Gravedigger, known as Digger to you, for some time. The two of you have managed to survive and avoid any sort of entanglements with either other settlements or with the dead. The Romeros in this area are well understood to Digger. Digger has spent much of his life out here alone, knows how to navigate large herds of the dead, how to carefully move through the wilderness without drawing attention to himself. And while you can tell that he's not used to working with someone, he has helped to train you, has spent time with you. The two of you have worked together to accumulate enough material to be able to survive, but not so much that you would be slowed in your travels. Together, you have hunted and have made your way further east. You had begun finally speaking to one another, although large numbers of days would pass where not a word was said. You had questions. You wanted to know if the Ender's Line would ever be part of your current trajectory, if it was Digger's intention to find 10-4, the leader of that group. You were originally tasked with finding Digger and bringing Digger back so that his understanding and knowledge about the Romeros could be imparted specifically to the discovery that you and the others of your group have made, that there are dead that speak. There are dead that possess abilities that do not make sense. There are many things that 10-4 is hoping that Digger will be able to help illuminate. However, after the attack at the campsite and the nightmare that occurred there, after apparently Olive took control and nearly murdered one of your own, you had little chance to make amends or to investigate the situation. You and Digger left, and you've been in the wilderness ever since. After your conversation, however, Digger did reveal that while you were skirting along the outside of the rail lines, that you were still close to the pathway known as the Yellow Brick. Yellow Brick led to this place. But when you arrived, you realized that Digger was right to be cautious. Someone had gotten here first. And the rag and bone that operated in this area are now very much dead. They were hung from the trees by nooses that were specifically weakened, so that when the dead would stir, it would weaken the branches, causing them to break, freeing them and allowing them to attack any who might be near. Digger very quickly assisted you in climbing up here. He followed after. The two of you were preparing to make your way through this aggressive horde of the dead when a series of makeshift vehicles arrived. You are assuming that they're with the Citadel. The rough-looking men and women have a fair number of guns upon them. They're wearing makeshift armor. The old, rusted vehicles have been painted in flat camouflage colors. These vehicles sputter and make a great deal of noise, but they are very sturdy. Large chain-wrapped wheels allow them to drive on rough terrain. Most of the vehicles have been raised off the ground considerably. You've seen vehicles like this at Grey Ridge. The individual that is shouting at you has a submachine gun a shaved head, and cold, unfeeling eyes. All right. Don't do a thing. Stay right there. Don't think about running. Don't think about fighting. If you so much as breathe funny, well, I guess that means we're bringing corpses back.
What is Digger doing right now?
Digger isn't moving, has his hands up, is still holding on to his bladed shovel weapon, has raised his hands up and is standing behind you, but hasn't moved a muscle.
Do you need something, bud?
I need you to not move, to stay where you are until we come and get you. Then you're going to come with us. Both of you.
Well, okay, if you can get here, that sure. I mean, why not? There's a lot of okay, because there's just like Romero's everywhere, right?
After the whistle, gunfire erupts, and all around both you and Digger, automatic gunfire rakes across the dead as they moan and shuffle around, each of you reaching feebly up, trying to grab at your feet. They continue to groan as the bullets rock through their bodies. Eventually, whether they were intending to quickly dispatch them or not, the gunfire rakes across their heads. Their faces explode outward, and the bodies drop onto the ground.
I look at Digger. Well, I mean, technically our problem solved, so I think this is probably fine.
That's going to draw so many more of them.
Okay, all right. So we have no matter what, we have to leave, is what I'm hearing. Should
Who
we
are
go with
these
these
people?
They're probably bad, and they're probably gonna kill us. But I don't.
Do nothing means shut the fuck up.
I'm just trying to find. Okay.
From the back of the vehicle, 6 individuals with guns slowly start making their way towards the building.
I think I would like to make a composure check to see if I could activate Olive.
Fair enough. Go ahead and make a composure, and let's see if you're able to fail horribly on your composure.
I'm trying to fail. Okay, let's do this. This is the first time I'm doing this on purpose. Okay, it's only 1. Come on, roll 20. Jesus.
1 degree of failure.
I need 3, so that's not quite there.
I'll tell you what. Juniper, if you are desperate to activate
You have so
Olive
much risk, Nox. I swear to God.
for 25 risk
That's
apiece,
too many.
I will sell you a failure, giving you enough to get to 3 degrees of failure.
Oh, because I had one from before, you're right.
So you would give me 50 risk, and I would allow you to immediately fail your composure check.
Oh, I see. No, I don't. I'm not. No, I'm gonna die one way or another. But this, I don't want to force it. I'll just take my 1 extra failure. So that means actually I had 1 from before.
So you were only 1 away then.
Yeah. Which makes your deal even more compelling. But I'm just gonna let it happen naturally. It's fine. That's what Jennifer would want.
You can make another composure check in the next round.
Okay,
now,
sounds fair.
The individuals are getting closer. Their guns are still drawn upon you. Outside of your composure check, is there something else that you would like to do in this moment?
I'm just gonna like grab on a Digger and like jump off the wall backwards so we can try to get away from them. Because is it a wall that opens out to another area, or is it a wall that's like self-contained?
So you're standing on top of a cinder block building. there are remains of a wall that have broken away. It will
Mhm.
give you some cover for a short period of time if the two of you drop directly backwards. So you will be falling back into wilderness and have the opportunity to potentially escape at that point. However, it is not a complete wall, and they will be very quickly able to meet you at your location. So you will be fleeing very, very precariously away, as these individuals with guns are going to be able to immediately begin tracking you. Now, there are trees, there is overgrowth. You would probably have a deal of cover as well, but it is not without risk.
One more question before I make a decision. How many people are there coming after us and still on the cars?
Well, there's 6 are coming after you. However, in the vehicle, you count at least 4 others.
So many people.
Most of them are in the driver's seat. The fourth, there are 3 vehicles, one with each driver. The one individual that whistled that seems to be in charge is not pursuing.
Okay.
Still staying in the back of this flatbed truck. However, the 6 that are out are heavily armed and also carrying melee weapons, and it seems like sidearms.
Cool. I'm gonna try to. My intention is to do what I just said, and then we're trying to stealth in such a way, like get away, but also stealth. Trying to find something to hide against or into or up in. Because I have Digger, so I feel like that gives me some sort of bonus.
Well, Digger is very good at maneuvering through the wilderness and is able to hide very effectively. So we'll see exactly how much help he's going to be on his turn.
Okay, all right.
He's operating independently of you. But your goal here is to grab onto Digger and pull him back, which I believe is that's going to fall into I'll allow let's call it, you don't have any specialty skills that you want to bid in this moment, right?
I do have some very good climbing gear.
I would say that climbing is probably the most appropriate.
Okay, cool. Let's do that.
Climbing gear and climb, as you're going to grab onto Digger and sort of slide down the back of this structure.
And okay, so here we go. Let's climb skill, climbing gear, go. Blah, 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 blah.
Roll for me one blue die as well.
Okay, I'll do that right now.
Because that's going to determine how quickly you perform this action.
Okay, well, if we're looking at the first roll I did, then I got 1 success, and then the blue die, and the second one is 3.
Yeah,
I'm allowed to do that.
We'll use your speed of 3, and we'll use the 1 success. Now, do you wish to do anything to alter that single success?
This is very scary. I'm going to go ahead and use 1 competency point to make it 2, just so it's a little better.
All right. I'm glad that you did that, because immediately there is a spray of gunfire that follows after you, and you're able to slide down quickly enough that the gunfire goes wild into the trees. You don't know if it was a warning shot or if it was directed at you. Digger doesn't fight you, but you can tell that Digger sort of jumps himself backwards once this is made. Like, you've made the decision here, and he's immediately following after, due to the fact that you are going this way one way or another, and he's not going to leave you. So you drop backwards and you fall into the overbrush on the other side. I need you to make a balance check for me.
Hey.
And I'm adding 1 black die of difficulty because you didn't really look before you did this.
Could I add my climbing gear to it also?
You may.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. Okay. Boosh. This is very bad. What the heck? I have so many bonuses on it too. That's 4 degrees of failure.
I see. Yeah. So that is a catastrophic failure. Go ahead and make another composure check for me.
Oh, okay. Well, boop, 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 boop. Composure. Oh, should I take the difficulty die away?
Yeah, you should take the difficulty die away from your composure.
Understood. Boop, boop. 1 degree of success. Roll 20 hates me.
Okay, so you are still holding firm to your presence of mind as you drop down. Digger lands, looks to you, holds his finger up to his mouth, and then points to the other side of the building, and then begins stalking quietly to one side, laying low. What do you do?
I follow him and try to be as quiet as possible.
Okay, make a stealth check, please.
Can I use my climbing gear with stealth? I don't know.
You're no longer climbing, so
Got
no.
it. Okay, here we go.
4 degrees of failure again. As you are starting to move through, is there something that you wish to do to alter this result?
I have 5 competency points left total for the rest of the game. It's only 7 o'clock, so that's not super good if I use them all. I'm gonna use 3.
Before you do that,
What?
Okay. I will sell you the removal of up to 3 of those degrees of failure at 25 risk apiece.
What what if I counter and say I will do that, but only if you don't use those 25 risk back on me later in this game?
I can't make that promise.
Okay, I just thought it was worth a shot. Okay, sorry team, I'm gonna have to do this because I need these competency points. Jennifer's not gonna make it out of here. I do that thing so that I only have 1 degree of failure, so I don't die here.
All right. So you have 1 degree of failure, and you're just gonna hold on to the 1 degree, right?
Yes.
All right. A branch snaps underfoot. So with 3 failures removed, you've given me 75 risk, and you have 1 degree of failure remaining.
Right. Okay.
Meaning that if you don't use any of your competency here, it is still a failure.
Okay. Okay.
It's just not as bad of a failure as it would have been.
Okay, I'll use 2 to make it 1 degree of success then. And
Then you do not break the twig underneath your boot.
Okay,
As you're stepping forward, you see it, and at the last minute, you pull your boot away from the twig, preventing the snapping noise from drawing attention towards you and Digger. The both of you are hidden, and you see the individuals with the guns slowly come into view. They are scanning the area around you. You hear the crackle of a radio.
Where'd they go? Do you see them? They're close by.
Shh. Fucking freak. The guns are right in front of you. Digger, without saying a word, slowly turns back to you, nods, and then looks back before swinging upward with his shovel. We'll come back to you. Lampwick. Rowan looks to you. Look, Lampwick, I think we have come to a pretty good understanding. Don't you?
I do. It looks like we have indeed.
Now you want me to come back with you.
I do.
And I understand that. Look, I'm not jerking your chain, you're not jerking my chain, but as you can see, things haven't been exactly rosy for me recently. I've got business that has to be attended to. This whole operation, it doesn't just run on its own, you know. Here at the Citadel, we have a lot of moving parts, shall we say. And right now, I'm pretty crispy critter, you know? Wouldn't do well for my constitution to go on a walkabout into the middle of nowhere on just the word of my good old friend Lampwick that everything's going to be fine and rosy. Now, that said, while I personally am not available, I could find somebody that I could send as a goodwill ambassador.
Who would that be?
Are the two of you, Lampwick, still in that back room that the store tent that you had decided to kind of stay out of appearances for?
Yeah, I'd say that if there hasn't been any reason for us to leave, I think that we would continue with a private conversation for as long as possible, if we can.
Well, look, I've got bosses here too. I'll kick it up the chain, but if you want somebody that I personally trust, I give you my word. I'll vet them myself.
Yeah, just not this guy over here, the jerk that was mouthing off to me earlier.
Hey, yeah. Listen, Riggs has got it a real hard-on for hurting you right now, but you can't blame him after all. There's a lot that went down with Grey Ridge and everything else.
I don't know how that makes me responsible for all of that, but I guess, some people need to have a target in order to function. So maybe that's just what I am for him right now.
Hey, look, why don't you find Juniper and say those same words to her? Because right now, I'd like to have words with her on that very subject.
Fair enough. But hey, we're talking way too much about people that are not inside this tent.
Yeah.
I'll do as you're asking. I'll take somebody else, but it needs to be us. This needs to happen between us.
Yeah, I heard you. You've got my word. We'll work it out between the two of us. I don't very much like the look of any of these people that you're hanging around with anyway. And you say that you don't know what it is, but you believe them. Well, I'm going to take your word for that, Lampwick.
How much time do you need before you would be willing to go back with me?
Let's just take this one step at a time. This is a first date. I don't go all the way.
All right. Can't say the same thing for myself, but...
Oh, I can tell you're a complete slut.
No comment.
Look, stick around. I know you've got your enforcers or bodyguard, whatever those white masked people are. Look around, but don't go too far. I've got people, they'll tell you exactly where you can't go. I figure you want to know a little bit more about what this place is.
Yeah.
I figure that you want to know that we can deliver. I don't think that you would be here if your bosses didn't think that we were up to the job. They don't seem like the type of people that like to dick around.
Not at all. If there's something that you can give me to send back to them so that they know that this is, that our talks are working, that would help me a great deal, and that would absolutely help us a lot.
Well, you see, there again, I've got to take that back and kick it up the chain. I'm not a
I get it.
one-woman army here.
No, I know. I'm just being upfront.
All right. Stick around. Make yourself comfortable, but not too fucking comfortable. And please don't embarrass me. I'm putting my neck out here.
All right. Hey, where's Philippe?
She sort of deflates a little, and it's you've always seen Rowan as somebody who's just full of bravado and very confident. But you say that, and you can see this flicker across her face, and it's just momentary. And she immediately snaps back out of it. Well, didn't make it.
Ah. Well, that's too bad. He was a good one.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Look around. Stick to the road here. Don't go poking behind doors without permission, but you'll see what this place is about. And I was originally hoping that you would make your way here and that we'd be able to bring you into the fold. You've got talents. I mean, obviously this other group sees it too, but if this doesn't work out the way you think it will, if these shepherds turn out to be the sort of assholes that I think they might be, it's not too late.
Well, I cannot emphasize enough how much I appreciate that. Let's hope it doesn't come down to having to choose sides like that ever again.
Yeah. Well, this is the world we live in, Lambwick.
Yes, it is.
She sort of smiles, and I want to reiterate the bandages are barely covering the network of burns and scars that she is now carrying with her. And you can see the extent is, well, it's a lot. She turns and pushes her way out of the flap of the tent, holding it open for you.
Am I to follow you, or is it okay if I kind of have a moment to myself and just kind of breathe?
As long as you aren't going to fucking tell me you're going to go pray, I don't give a shit.
I'm not going to pray, but I do pull out a book. I'm just going to jot some notes.
Jot away. She turns and looks at you for a long moment, walks away. In the distance, you see that rough military-looking man with the close-cropped hair and beard kind of glowering at you. He turns, the two of them talking, walk away.
I'm going to go sit back down, and I'm just kind of, so that I don't forget the details, I'm going to just kind of write down just parts of the conversation that I had with Rowan, and also like just trying to keep track of what has happened in the last, I don't even know how many days or a week, so I don't forget.
Yeah, your mind is a little foggy. You've been having a lot of conversations, a lot of sessions with Brother Hayworth. Much like before, he shows you things. He's specifically asked that you very carefully learn the layout of this place. Understand it. He also told you before you came here to expect a sign that will be used to prove to the Citadel that the hand of Malachi can deliver exactly what it promises.
And anything that he has been like teaching me, anything that I feel like I need to like learn, I'm definitely like taking notes so I can review.
Most importantly, you're not to reveal anything that you think that they don't already know.
Got it.
You're standing there jotting notes, Lampwick, and you see a figure step out of a building, perhaps 30 or 40 feet away. Kusanagi, would you please describe yourself?
Kusanagi is probably dressed differently than the last time Lampwick saw him. He doesn't have his normal kind of road gear on, his rag and bone outfit. It looks like he's wearing almost like a sort of very simple, almost like military sort of shirt. And then he has what looks like some sort of lab coat sort of thing, but it's to take it off, and the arms are tied around his waist. So it's almost like a kind of, looks like he's got almost like a sort of apron on underneath it. And he just looks like he's sort of taking a break, and he looks like he's, has been, I guess, like he doesn't smoke, but he looks like he's on a smoke break, basically. He's just kind of killing time outside of this building.
Kusanagi, you've spent a long period of time upgrading the current infrastructure within the Citadel. You have aided them in running more effective electrical wiring between the many generators that they use to produce the various lights and other electronics that they do use to fairly good extent to upgrade and build vehicles and to try to improve their arsenal. There are, Kusanagi, a number of buildings that are dedicated to the creation and the building of both weaponry and bullets and other armaments. There are things here that you've not yet seen in a civilization, and you were unaware that there was such a strong contingency of military-minded individuals this far north. Most of your rag and bone work has been in the part of Pennsylvania that was more southern than this area, and you had spent many years traveling that region. Much of the area surrounding the specific complex, this compound, is thought to be lost land, too dangerous to traverse. But that does explain, perhaps, why the Citadel has been able to keep some of their strength well hidden from the other communities of the area. You were brought here after Grey Ridge. You remember sitting in that vehicle, watching it fall into the rearview mirror as it was pulling further and further away from you. Still on fire, still smoke billowing into the mountain regions around it. That farmhouse, that community, had supposedly been the hope of many of these settlements, that the doctor there, Maria Espinosa, would be able to create a very sustainable source of antibody and penicillin that could be used to help those who are sick. You were also aware that Blockbuster had made his way there, hoping to gather some of those resources and utilize them. He was the best of the best at what he did. Specifically, he was a tape trader, much like you. You had hoped that perhaps you might learn more about where your rival had set his permanent base, his home. You'd heard many things. You spent many years digging into the secrets that he held. Sadly, it was too late when you arrived. And the group that you did encounter was very volatile. You watched as the doctor was killed by one of their own. Murdered by a rag and bone named Juniper. Achira, Lampwick, the others, all of them had proven themselves less than reliable. And when Rowan gave you a way out, you took it. You weren't aware that she was going to use the dynamite to cave the cavern in around that safe house, but still, you understood why she did it. They were dangerous, and if she could contain them long enough for others to deal with the problem, so be it. It wouldn't have been your first choice, but there we are. They blindfolded you eventually. You don't think that if you left the Citadel now, you'd be able to easily find your way back if you were blindfolded again. That said, you've done what they've asked, and they've made you very, very comfortable. Very comfortable. But you haven't been allowed to leave. They always make excuses. They don't call you a prisoner, and they certainly don't treat you like one. But that doesn't change the fact that they've not allowed you to go on any exterior missions, to scout or to maneuver the way that you had used to. They make excuses. You're far too valuable here. We have too much work to do. Why waste your skills out there when we have people who can bring things to you? Just tell us what you want. And they've been very accommodating. They've provided you with everything that you've asked for. You have your own laboratory, your own workshop. And with it, you've been able to create and build and repair a number of things. You have a wide selection of tapes that you've been able to gather and a number of VHS players that you've been able to refurbish to get running again. You have ample power, you have protection, and you're considered Tier A. Everyone within the Citadel of Tier A or above eats first. They eat best. They're treated with more respect. As you left your laboratory, again beginning to feel cooped up, confined, you see across the way a face you didn't expect to see again. It's Lampwick. Lampwick, would you describe yourself?
Yeah, Lampwick is about 6 feet tall, lean, the kind of lean that used to be muscular, but the kind of muscle that isn't necessarily practical. It's built for aesthetic reasons, not practical reasons, back before the fall of civilization. But although, that's not, if things have changed, you can still see a remnants of that kind of build in him. Dark hair, dark eyes, and writing furiously in a book. And at this point, probably pacing in this tent as he stops and pauses to reflect and write some stuff down on repeat.
Are there other Citadel guards and stuff in the area, in my eye line?
Yeah, there are always individuals walking the walls, and they're armed, much like a jail. They always have individuals that are scouring the yard, making sure that everything is under control. They're watching both what's on the outside and the inside. The Citadel is well armed, and the individuals inside it do tend to fight amongst each other from time to time. Typically, the rules of the Citadel apply, and if you have beef with someone else, you are allowed to take it out upon them, as long as it doesn't harm others and it is done in an honorable way. You resolve your own problems. However,
and I'm allowed to carry my sidearm openly, right? Like I have my yeah. Okay.
They've not taken your weapons.
I have that. I have my big pistol.
Yeah. And so the other thing that you see, though, Kusanagi, is there are two guards that you don't recognize, and that, frankly, it doesn't sit well with you. There are these black-clad individuals in wrapped cloth from head to toe with black hoods and featureless white masks that are standing close to Lampwick, but not on top of Lampwick. They're clearly watching over him.
Now, I'm seeing all these people inside a tent. They're all inside of a tent?
They're outside of the tents. Yeah, there are a number of benches and chairs and things like that. It seems like typically when they have some sort of parlay with outside groups, they typically do this inside of these tents, so that they're not inside the inner gate, but they're also not inside of any of the buildings. They can't cause as much harm. If somebody were to walk in loaded up with C4 and it were to take a tent out, it wouldn't have the same devastating effect as if somebody tried to blow up something inside of their actual buildings. Not that these individuals aren't carefully searched, but at the same time, you can never tell.
My contact here, who I go to when I have issues and stuff like that, is that still Rowan, or is there somebody else who I talk to?
Well, you have actually not seen Rowan for weeks. She was originally your contact and your liaison, but now you've got an individual known as Inez, and Inez takes care of you.
Do I know where Inez is now?
You haven't seen Inez today. There's a number of guards that are lingering in the general area, though, and if you need something, you can typically ask just about anybody, and word will get back to them.
I think I want to do that. I'm gonna go back into my lab or somewhere where I know I'm going to find another guard hanging out and try to get word back to Inez.
Kusi, buddy, how you doing?
Hi.
How's that?
Is this
How's
Inez
that
that I'm
shot?
talking to, or is this a guard?
No. This is Joe.
Joe, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not the only Joe here.
Call me Joey. Everybody knows me as Joey. Joey Slick.
Joe.
So
Joe
Joey
is.
Slick.
Oh yeah, okay,
the
now I
other-
remember.
Yeah, the other Joes, they're not as. Just call me Joey. We're friends, right? Like you got that tape racket going on, man. You got like 3 of those VHS players going. I ain't
do.
seen.
Now, okay, yeah, you're the.
I'm the Alf guy. I love that show. You could get me tapes of Alf.
Yeah. I will say that your future rentals will be predicated on you rewinding them before you return them to me. However.
Oh yeah, sure. Predicate whatever you like. I just love that weird little alien puppet.
Puppets are excellent. Yes. Yeah. Have you seen Inez?
Oh, yeah. You can tell he sort of skirts the issue. Would you like to make a detect motives roll?
Yeah, sure.
Inez is around here somewhere. I mean, she's pretty busy. Is there something that I can do you for?
I got 2 successes on my.
Yeah, he's clearly trying not to tell you where Inez is.
Yeah, maybe you can help me, actually. I saw somebody out there who I've had some run-ins before with on the road. And I was just looking to find out what he's doing here.
Oh, that guy, the slick one? I'm Joey Slick, but like, maybe I ain't that slick, comparatively, yeah?
I mean, my interactions with him have been limited, but that does confirm to my experience.
We've been told not to talk to him, to let him kind of just simmer, that the bosses are going to take care of it. The lieutenants have been talking with management, and yeah, we're supposed to stay away. Why? Does he owe you something?
Oh no. I just wanted to let Inez know, what his story is, or at least, make sure that the people have all the background they need.
Oh, you got information.
Just trying to, do my part here.
Yeah. I'm sure the bosses will want to hear. You want me to get Riggs?
What do I know about Riggs?
He's an asshole. Yeah, he's a grade A, dyed in wool, cast in steel, military asshole. He seems to be a lieutenant as well. There's 4 of them, and Rowan is one of them. Riggs is another, and there are 2 others that are a little more distant than those 2 because they're not located within this location. They're traveling on exterior outposts and also handling a lot of the further crews that are operating on the furthest boundaries of the territory that the Citadel calls their own. There's also a lot of individuals for the Citadel who move beyond other communities, gathering tariffs that are brought back here. So the 2 people in charge that are visible, Riggs is one of them, but is a far less attractive individual to deal with because he's very harsh. He doesn't seem to like you very much. He doesn't understand the tape thing. He thinks it's a waste of time, and really just expects results out of everybody given any moment. The other thing that you've noticed is that he's super sadistic. Like, he likes to watch people suffer, and when they catch thieves or other individuals, criminals, the Citadel does not fuck around. They put people on public execution. They torture people. They are not shy about laying down the law.
Joey, I know that you and Riggs have had your issues, and I mean, I gotta say, I share your opinion. Maybe Riggs isn't really the right person to talk to about this. I'm really worried that he's gonna overreact, and I don't want to make bad things bad for you or me or just everybody here. I can maybe sit on this, until Inez is available. But
well, wait a minute. If you got something important that I'm not, I mean, Rowan's out there. I could radio and see if she's willing to talk to you.
Yeah, that would work.
All right, yeah, but you'll tell her that I helped you do it.
Oh, of course.
All right, because like, an extra ration here or there, I'm only tier C, you're tier A, you're eating filet mignon and I'm eating dog food, literally.
I mean, you should have told me. I didn't know. I mean, yeah, I could do that for you. You don't need to wait for Rowan.
Oh, well, yeah, just remember that I helped you out and let them know. I mean, you can't promote me, but maybe I could.
No, I mean with the rations and stuff. Like
yeah.
Honestly, like I don't know what to do with some of this stuff. I know like we're not supposed to share across ranks and stuff because it's supposed to, break the hierarchy. But like, honestly, like I just want the people I interact with on the day-to-day just to know that I have their back,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I got this post a lot, and it's right next to your lab, so I could always keep an extra eye out for you if it was needed.
That would be so appreciated, man.
Yeah, we can do some business. We're friends, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he radios off, and do you wait there, or do you go back to your lab, or what do you do?
I mean, if I can pick up the call from Rowan in my lab, then I'll just go back into the lab.
Well, yeah, you go back into your lab, and there, what projects would Kusanagi be working on right now?
There's a bunch of stuff with testing recovered batteries and things like that to see if they're reparable, and then if they are, then those get patched into various places of this grid that we're building for the camp, basically this power grid. There's some of that. I've been going through all of the tapes and stuff that they have, particularly interested in some of these ones that I've found that have more stuff with this doctor, because I recognize the doctor from the tape that I watched when I was with the other group of players. So there's been more stuff connected to that. So yeah, I've been copying a lot of that stuff and taking notes, but that's kind of been a side project. Most of my time is taken up doing boring but essential electrical work.
So in the subject of tapes, they've been very generous with bringing any tapes that are collected on the outside world, even bringing some of the tariff stuff back and making sure that you're kept comfortable. When it comes to the subject of those tapes with the doctor on it, those strange SOS tapes, they, I don't know if you've mentioned them to other people. They allow you to have the ones that you have, but they haven't been providing you with any of them, and they've been very sort of strange about the way that they approach it. They don't confirm or deny, and whenever the subject is brought up, everyone goes pretty quiet.
Gotcha.
But anyway, you're there, you're checking out some of the batteries, and about 15-20 minutes goes by, and there's a knock at the door.
Come in.
The door swings open, and you see, for the first time, you get a good look at Rowan, and you'd heard about what happened. A grenade went off, pretty much in her face, and so a lot of the guards have been talking about her being unkillable and invulnerable, and
now, was this an accident or was she attacked? Would I know that?
She was attacked, yeah.
By?
The rumor that you have heard is that a group of Rag and Bone nearly nailed her to the wall. And that the rest of the Citadel is currently out searching out those that are responsible, and that it's just a matter of time before they're brought here.
Oh, but Rowan, I wish I could say that you looked good, but you don't.
Hey, Kusanagi, come on. No need for that. I know I look like hot garbage. There's no need to tiptoe around it. Fact of life, So I understand from Joey out here that you've got some information.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, but I spotted Lampwick out there with some very strange guards.
Well, you see, that's the thing there, Kusanagi. I know Lampwick is here. Certainly, we're negotiating. He's currently connected with another survivor group, but any information that you have would be most welcome.
I mean, I was going to share with Inez what my experience with Lampwick so far had been, but I mean, who knows? Have you already talked to Inez about Lampwick?
Look, I'm going to level with you. We've got Inez out on the hunt right now. She's one of my best guns. I need her on top of something else. So she's not going to be close by. And again, it's one of the reasons that I put her in charge of you, because we care, you know? But she's not here. So if you want to tell me, great. If you want to wait
Well, no, I mean, you already know as much about Lampwick as I do. I mean, you were there, you saw what went down. I just want to make sure that no one's going to take anything he says at face value.
Well, I wasn't born yesterday, and I'll tell you this much. I'm aware that he has a lot of game that he's playing. Not unlike a lot of folks around here.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess, you know, maybe I was just being overly cautious, but it seems like you all already know, you know, what his number is.
Yeah. Hey, I don't suppose
Say
you
negotiating, though, like, why would you want to negotiate with his group? What do they have to offer you?
Well, that's just it. We're trying to find out exactly what his group is about.
The guys with the masks?
I mean, you've been out there. You've been out there quite a bit. You've operated with the Rag and Bone. You ran with quite a few different groups. Selling,
yeah, but there's
trading.
some people that we avoid. There's some people that contact with is just not worth whatever you're going to get from them.
Yeah, but usually those people aren't organized. It becomes a Citadel problem when there's more than one freak show grouping up together. Now, I'm not saying that we're gunning for these people, but there's a lot happening here. You saw some of those things. Talking Dead, any of this ring a bell to you?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, and I've told you my theories about, you know, how that stuff works, but I mean, sometimes I feel like you give me that look that says that, you know, that I should stop. But, you know, I have my own ideas about what's going on here.
Well,
I mean, I could confirm a lot more of these theories if I could get access to, you know, the source of a lot of this information. But you don't seem to be making that a priority.
We're trying our best here, friend, and you're very valuable. I mean, you have improved our infrastructure by at least 100% in just the short amount of time that you've been here. You got to understand, we're not going to throw you to the wolves right now. We got plenty of people that can do things that you need done. But let me tell you this, Kusanagi. If you want to talk to Lampwick and get some information out of him that you think that I wasn't able to pull from him, that's valuable. And we can find a way to make things work for you. So if you're telling me you want an armed escort so that you can go and range about in the wilderness a little bit, well, let's make that a trade. You bring back some information that I can use from Lampwick out there. We'll make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could do that. I just worry that we're making all this effort to make this place really good. And if we don't look at the bigger picture, someone could come in and take it from us after we built it up.
I think you're on to something here. I can tell you right now that that's exactly how management sees the situation. Everything that we do is to protect the Citadel. Don't kid yourself otherwise. We work to protect the people of this encampment. Now, we think you're a part of that. We hope that you feel like you're at home here. We want you to feel secure in what's happening here. So a little give and take. If you're real hot and heavy to get out there and search the wilderness one more time, it's gonna suck because our resources are limited and we're gonna be putting a lot of guns with you to make sure that you're nice and safe when you go out there. I gotta look at my fucking face, Kusanagi. It's not pretty out there. I'm telling you now, we've got concerns, but if you can get information out of Lampwick and bring it back to me, because maybe he's going to trust you more, or maybe something else is going on, I don't know. I can tell you right now, Kusanagi, a lot of folks around here think that you're pretty great, and I think you're great too, but I also don't think you put all your cards straight on the table. We've been around each other long enough that I feel like I can just say that to you and you won't take offense.
Oh, no. I mean, that's fine, you know? I mean, we don't share everything about, you know, ourselves, and there's a real risk in being vulnerable in that way, you know? I understand that. But you should know that, like, none of the decisions I ever make would put you at risk.
Oh, same here. I would never put you at risk either, Kusanagi. Let's just call it what it is. We've got an arrangement. If you want to go see what Lampwick has to tell, maybe an old friend or an old rival, I don't know how you want to play it, but if you want to come back to me with something useful,
yeah,
I'll get you where you want to go.
I mean, I think he has those 2 guards with him, and it's really going to be a difficult dynamic if I don't have some guards of my own as well when I go talk to him.
Yeah, well, Joey seems to think that you're the bee's knees, so you take that guy and I'll get somebody else over here too. You can have 2 guards that'll be right next to you the whole time, and you can look as important as you want. And let me tell you this much, if he so much as moves towards you, yeah, we've already got people with guns trained on him. So you don't have to worry about actually being harmed. But you want to make a little show out of it, by all means, I'll help you out.
Awesome. Well, let's see if I can get something.
Yeah, by all means. Listen, you know, I'm on Channel 9. Have Joey shout out when it's all said and done. I got some work to do. I gotta go change some bandages, so you'll excuse me. She turns and walks out. Yeah. You're alone, Kusanagi?
Yeah, I think once I have these guards, I'm gonna head over to the tent that Lampwick and his cult buddies are outside of.
Yeah, a couple of minutes later, Joey and another guard appear, and she's Suzanne, and Suzanne is pretty tough and quiet, but has been helpful. It's just also kind of distant. A lot of these guards are well trained and have been with the Citadel for quite a while. They put the younger kids on the outskirts so that they're ranging around, but some of the other guards on the inside are lifers. They've been here for a long time. Many of them, like you, are echoes that have been alive, you know, during the whole thing, that remember the world, even though most of them were pretty young at the time. You step out, and the 2 guards are on either side of you. Lampwick, you see Kusanagi.
Well, actually, before I step out, I want to brief these 2 guards.
Sure, by all means.
So we're going to go talk to this gentleman, Lampwick, who I've dealt with before. You are not to engage him in any way. If he speaks to you, don't answer any of his questions. Your only job, basically, is to just look menacing. You know, you don't have to threaten him or any of that sort of thing, but he's going to have his 2, you know, masked weirdos with him. So yeah, just hang out and look tough, which won't be a lot of work for either of you, you know. So that's it. And yeah, and just don't engage him in any way. Just let me do all the talking, and you know, we'll just listen. Got it?
Yeah, we got it. No problem. We got your back, Kusanagi. And they both do look pretty intimidating. Joey less so, or more. Joey is more intimidating when he's not talking. So both of them kind of cut a pretty good picture. They look pretty tough. The 3 of you then walk out. Lampwick, you see them approaching you. And as they do, we're going to take a short break. So we're going to step away for 5 minutes. Please don't go anywhere. When we return, we'll see how this conversation plays out. Welcome back to twitch.tv, Hunters Entertainment. Outbreak, Rag and Bone. I am your game master, Noxweiler Burf, and we are continuing our survival horror tale tonight. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, our moderators are available to you in the chat and here to assist you. Please take special note of the content warnings tonight. Thank you. Juniper. Digger has stepped forward. Very quickly, he has slashed upward with the sharpened bladed instrument that he uses. It's reminiscent of a shovel, but it is much flatter like an axe and has a broad spade-like shape to it. As he jolts upward, it finds purchase in the base of the neck of the individual holding the submachine gun. There is a spray of blood, and the individual gurgles and shouts as he is pressed backwards, lifted momentarily off of his feet. This small, innocuous, very forgettable man who is filthy but not unnaturally so in this place. He has a ragged beard and scraggly hair. He is of average build and height. But in this moment, you see how strong he truly is. And his shovel has just impaled itself in the base of this man's throat. He gurgles, dropping his gun, and as he does so, there is a small spray of gunfire that falls into the floor. The ground peppers with dirt and leaves, and without a moment's notice, Digger pulls the shovel back, turning towards the other individual with a gun. What is your intention in this moment?
I grab the submachine gun?
The one that has fallen to the ground.
Yes, and to use it on the one who's approaching, the person who's approaching.
All right. What sort of training do you have with weaponry like that?
Let's see. Nothing. Yeah, nothing. I have shot a gun before, like in the game, because it's come up before, but yeah.
With that said, I'll have you make a long gun roll.
Okay.
And you can do so with 3 black dice of difficulty. As you pick up this foreign submachine gun, which you have witnessed being shot, but never fired one yourself.
Okay. That isn't bad.
It is not bad at all. It's only 1 degree of failure. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna... Let's see, it's 7:53. I'm gonna use 2 competency points to make that 1 degree of success.
Very well.
I have 1 left now. I don't know why I'm telling you that. That's very bad information for you to have.
The other individual, startled by the gunshot, turns and actually steps into you as you fire upon him. There is a spray of blood as his torso explodes outward, and he looks down in shock as you, hiding in the bushes, having grabbed onto this weapon, have just unfurled angry lead into his abdomen. He stops and stumbles backward just as Digger grabs him and throws him down to the ground. His shovel raises and drops with deadly accuracy. You hear another choking noise as the blade finds its home, severing the windpipe of the individual that has just been dropped. 2 of these individuals are now dead. You hear the others shouting. Footsteps breaking through the foliage as it pushes closer to you. What would you like to do?
I motion over to Digger. I think we gotta go. I don't think we can fight all these people and then the ones in the car too. But I got this.
He nods, and the 2 of you begin moving back into the woods. However, before you do so, I need you to make a final composure check.
Oh no. Okay. Any difficulty? No difficulty, right?
No difficulty. That is 2 degrees of failure.
Nope.
Is there anything that you would like to do in this moment, Juniper, to mitigate that failure?
No, I can't. So it's fine.
Because you've already spent your competency, correct?
Yeah, I told you how many I have left. I've got 1 left. Yep.
There is a moment as you say this, Juniper. You stand there with the gun. You're motioning backwards to Digger as Digger starts to slip in to the woods. And you feel your grip on the gun tighten, and everything becomes foggy. Darkness begins to descend around you. And you stop being Juniper. You become Olive. And we'll leave you there. Lampwick, Kusanagi, and 2 very rough-looking soldiers, ragtag as they may be, heavily muscled, grizzled. They've seen shit. That much is clear. Kusanagi walks in the center, and they walk flanking on either side. What would you like to do?
If I see Kusanagi coming my way, I close the book. I put it away in a satchel in a bag that I have, and I just look right at him and I say, "Well, well, well, look who it is."
Hey, listen, I'm sorry that things went the way they did when we last met.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I am also very sorry. Things went the way they did.
I mean, if we're being honest, it wasn't really either of our faults that they did. But I think you should know that I was not part of the decision-making process of nuking that mine.
Look, I am pretty sure you weren't. You knew Rowan as long as I did at that point. So, hey, look, that's the past. A lot has happened. A lot has changed. But you seem to be coming. I mean, you knew I was here. I'm assuming.
I saw you. I mean, I work here now, basically.
How's that been going?
I mean, it's all right. I mean, I never really saw myself kind of as a military person, but you know, it's the world we live in.
Are you a military person now?
I guess technically I am, and I kind of pat my weapon. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that needs doing here, and you know, these days not everybody knows how to do that stuff.
Right.
Why are you here? And where are your friends?
I am here. I'm here without them. We were separated, but we have some catching up to do. Why don't you kind of step on in? There's a whole little setup that Rowan had for us. Why don't we just pick up where I left off with her? Make ourselves comfortable.
Oh, sure. Are your new friends going to be joining us?
No, they let me. I get to have some distance from them. They allow me that.
All right. Well, yeah, sure.
Are your friends going to be joining us? I
mean, if yours aren't, I don't think mine need to either.
I think that's a fair deal. So I step back in and I go to the end where I was with Rowan, where at least I believed I had enough privacy to carry on conversation with Rowan. So I head over there, I take a seat.
Yeah, I'll take a seat too.
It's fairly private. The tent flaps are still open, so you can still kind of see outside. The 2 guards that were with Kusanagi just sort of stand off in the distance, enough so that actually the woman that was with him is able to kind of see into the tent from a distance, but doesn't seem to be trying to listen in or anything like that. Your guards, Lampwick, stay exactly where they were.
How far away are they from me? They're in the
About
same
40
position
feet.
if they were. Okay,
Yeah,
40
about
feet.
40 feet. Yeah, they're good. They're far enough away that if you're speaking low, they can't hear you.
Got it. And can't hear Kusanagi as well.
No.
All right. Well, so we're here. We actually have a moment to get to know each other a little bit more, unusual.
Yeah, it looks like we've both had to make friends with some people who kind of are not like us, you know?
Right. Yeah, that's very true. Hey, Rowan has let me, she's given me permission essentially to walk around the grounds to take a look. I'm here, I'm trying to strike a deal with Rowan. I am with the
Oh, so you're a
shepherds.
diplomat now.
Well, I am. Look, I'm everything that I need to be. I've had to wear many hats, some not by choice, but this is where we are today. As you are, military man, you're doing things that I'm sure you never thought you would be doing yourself.
Honestly, I wish it were that exciting, but it isn't.
Have they had you kill anybody yet?
No, that's not really my purview.
They have other people for that.
Yeah. But like these folks that you're with, like I haven't really heard that much about them, but none of it is good.
No, look, it. Geez, how do I even say this? I don't know enough myself, but I have been surprised. They're unique. They have their ways that they are committed to, I think.
Yeah, most fanatics do.
Right. But they also have something that is very different in a potentially good way. I'm not one of them necessarily.
I mean, the way you're talking about it makes me think you're at least sipping the Kool-Aid.
Well, I mean, if they're slipping me some Kool-Aid, then they're doing it really sneakily because I haven't noticed that.
Well, you're already talking about how they have something special.
Well, they do. Look, man, I would love to level with you 100%. I don't think where we're headed as a people is we're doomed. Look at this. There's undead roaming around, but of course that's the least of our worries. So often that's the least of our worries. I've had to do things that I regret. I've had to do things that I wish I didn't have to do. And I'm tired of being pitted up against people. I'm tired of going to a group of people and having them look at me with suspicion because it's warranted. Because they have been victimized and wronged by people again and again and again. And this isn't the world I want to be in. I want to be in a better world.
But I don't think people have changed. It's been like that for decades.
Well, you're right. The thing is that the good people are all gone, and the ones that are left are us, which means that we're the ones that need to become better.
You know, I believe that.
So, look, I was that person back before this shit went down. But there were enough good people out there to take advantage of and balance it out. They're gone. They're all gone. And this is what's left. And we're eating each other. Those zombies out there, those Romeros, that's not what's devouring us. We're eating ourselves. And
to go back to my earlier point, though, I don't think people have changed, and I don't think they're going to change. But we both know that the Romeros are changing. And there are some people who are saying that people like the shepherds have something to do with it.
I don't know if they have something to do with it. I know that they have... Look, I'll tell you what I saw, and this will stay with me. I've seen them deal with a Romero with compassion. And I saw the Romero stand down. How can anybody expect to witness something like that and not have it leave some kind of a mark? So it's not that I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, it's that I'm taking everything in and seeing things for what they are. Now, the Citadel, I don't know that much about this place, but I know that they're powerful. I know that they're, the big bullies on the playground, and I know that they're ruthless. And that if they don't think that you're useful, then they're going to toss you out. There has to be a better world than this. I'm not saying that the shepherds have it all together either. There's things that I question, there's things that I don't know, but I'm here because I want a ceasefire between these two groups so that reasonable people can, if there's any of us left, or if there's anyone that's a rotten piece of shit that's willing to step out of that and grow the fuck up and become somewhat reasonable, for these kinds of people to step in between and figure something out. I don't have the answers, but I'm stepping out and I'm trying to be one of those people. And I need people, honestly, like you, Kusanagi, to join me so that we can figure something out.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that you seem to be looking at the bigger picture. I think that you're right, that I think a lot of people are just caught up in the politics and in the power of one group versus another. And it's, it's just tribalism. But I think that some of those deeper mysteries that that you think the shepherds could give you access to are dangerous.
They might be, but they might be a way towards something better, and I need a different way than what I've been doing up till now. And I see the possibility in that there, and I definitely see that between a partnership of sorts.
Well, I mean, I don't like to, it's certainly something I wouldn't interfere with, if you think you can broker some sort of peace agreement, no matter how temporary, between our groups, I think that can't be anything, but a good thing.
I think you can help. I
think I can, yeah. Although, to be honest, I feel like a lot of times negotiations are just buying time for something else,
Mm-hmm.
So, I just wonder, while we're here talking, what else is happening?
That's a great question. Speaking of buying time, is that something you need? What are you cooking up? What are you said that I'm seeing the bigger picture, which suggests to me that you've been seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And I want to know what that looks like to you.
And I mean, I've tried to share that with you and with your friends. I am looking for people who can either help me go places or who can act on my behalf to check out leads. But a lot of the information, that I've been finding from the Blockbuster Left Behind, it started out as me just being, passionate about preserving the stories of the old world, but I think he saw that bigger picture. And I think he was trying to, I don't know what he wanted to do with that information. I think if it falls into the wrong hands, it can be very, very dangerous. But I'm confident.
What have the tapes told you?
that there's something that is behind the changes that we've seen in the Romeros.
The ones that are seemingly intelligent and can talk.
Yeah. And that finding ways to communicate with them or control them, I mean, it's a dangerous path, but you know, whatever the goals of the people involved in it are, it's really going to be what is done with it. It's not something that's good or bad. It's going to be what people decide to do with it.
Because it's happening already.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing them change. We know that they've changed.
Yeah. And I feel like, you know, you probably need your new shepherd friends to help you, protect you, do certain things. And the Citadel here is useful to me as well. But I'm really looking for people like you and your friends who are going to be a little bit more independent.
Right.
Which is not to say that I trust you, because I don't. And I don't think that you should trust me either. But I don't have to trust you to like you.
Bell begins to ring somewhere in the complex. A loud, empty, droning bell. Kusanagi, you're familiar with this bell. It usually means that there is a situation that requires immediate attention. It could mean that somebody is approaching from the gates. Regardless of what it is causing a bit of a stir outside in the courtyard as individuals start sort of shuffling about, running. There's a number of people who quickly move past the open front of the tent. However, your two guards remain exactly where they were told to stand. Achira, you're on the back of a open-bedded truck that has been heavily refurbished. They have searched you. They have taken your weapons, the items that you were carrying, unless you can justify to me that somehow there was a reason that your items would have been remaining on you and hidden.
Yeah. While Achira was in the wilderness by herself, being driven by the cold fires of revenge, she had a lot to think about, and she started reverting back to old ways. She secreted a number of different jagged metal and different linings in her clothing, along with nails and a number of different things. Along with that, since she knew that people knew the weapons that she carried with her, which was a compound crossbow, long gun, and also her hand scythe, she got a hold of a combat knife, and she has concealed that on her body.
Okay, so the combat knife you're saying will be hidden. The rest of it will obviously be taken because it's visible, correct?
Yes.
All right. So if you wish to succeed in having that remain hidden, I'm going to call that a stealth check. Unless you want to use another skill here, if you can justify it.
No, stealth is her best skill.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it possible to get any kind of bump with having it be a bit of a fake out, as in making the hand scythe seem even more important, so that something like an additional knife would be overlooked?
I'll allow you to make a persuade check. And so if you are able to succeed on that persuade check, I'll allow you to distract them with the hand scythe so that you can keep the boot knife still hidden.
Or I just can do a straight stealth.
Or it can be a straight stealth.
I'll do the straight stealth because I have more and stacks with that.
Okay, so yeah, you have a statistically better chance of succeeding if you just lean into your ability to kind of hide things. So go ahead and make that check. I'm going to make a search check, and this is going to be contested. So depending on the degree of difference, you will succeed or fail.
Yeah, I don't have anything to put into it, so we'll see.
But I'm not implementing any dice of difficulty. You have 2 degrees of success. That gives you. Do you want to do anything else?
I have 1 competency point left. I will use it to hopefully be able to keep this knife.
Okay, so that gives you 3 degrees of success, which actually gives you enough to be able to keep the knife concealed. You have defeated their search roll by 2 degrees. So one of those degrees can be used to keep the knife hidden, and I'll allow you to use the other degree of success on a future roll. So even though you've spent your competency point, you can add a degree of success to something that you're going to do in the near future.
Okay.
Is that
I
fair?
would like to specify now that the concealed combat knife is poisoned with black blood.
Okay, that is fair. You have worked the edges of it, and it has dried black bile upon it.
Yes.
All right. So it is a very dangerous weapon indeed, and it is still concealed. They take all of your other weapons. They do handcuff you to the back of the truck. There is a metal pipe that runs along the back of the bed of the truck, and they take your hands behind your back, handcuff you, and they loop the handcuffs through this pipe.
I do want to ask for a couple other things, because you said that we could have some survival gear that we had picked up along the way. I have a list of different things that wouldn't be picking up a first aid kit, so to speak. For instance, I wanted to have her conceal metal splinters in her wrists to be able to utilize that as makeshift lock picks. Also to conceal a flat sharpened metal piece for slashing hidden in the lining of her pants. On 2 small clean metal nails that she keeps in her mouth.
Okay, that is a lot, but I think it fits in line with who Achira is. I will ask you for 100 survival points, though.
Okay.
Does that seem fair to you?
I would have asked for more stuff, but I'll take it because I've got some other flammable.
I think it's fair, given that it's not so much the amount of stuff, but the way that you have it concealed that is allowing this interaction to be, I think, fair. So you do have these items. It takes a while to get to most of them to be able to use them, and your hands are currently you're standing and you're handcuffed behind your back. So there are guards here as well. They have guns that are at their sides. They could have them ready in just a moment. Most of them are shoulder slung. And you see a number of these individuals. From one of the walkie-talkies that the woman that originally encountered you is holding, you hear a buzz and a crackle as a voice comes out, and she's currently wrapping a bandage around her leg, looking at you sourly as she grabs her walkie with a huge taped battery on the bottom of it. This is a makeshift battery, and she holds this large military walkie-talkie phone-like device up to her ear, and she tunes it, and you do hear over the top of it,
Inez, do you copy? Inez, you copy? This is home base.
"Yeah, I read you. Hold on. There are ears here." And Inez walks away from you far enough so that you can't hear what's happening on the walkie. You do hear a crackle, and she's clearly speaking, but it's hard to hear exactly what that conversation is. But a few moments later, the truck jumps to life and rattles down a very, very rough road towards the main series of roads that lead back into this enormous compound. And your back is to it, but you can see the trees kind of fall away. And if you look over your shoulder, you see this complex getting closer and closer.
Achira starts remembering her time there, everything that she went through, what she did to get away, and the very fact that she's going back again. The very fact that she believes, that she knows that the Citadel is responsible for Arya's decapitation steals her with purpose.
Mm-hmm. Almost without asking, you realize that you're repeating in your mind Marcus, Amanda, Nora, Omar, baby Faith. And it takes you a good minute or two before you come to the realization that those words are on your lips. Inez is staring at you.
And Achira just looks right back at her.
She looks down at her leg and then back at you. She takes your hand scythe and looks at it. You're pretty good with this thing.
I'm good with a lot of things. This is a bad idea.
Yeah, you keep saying that. Well, let's hope you find some things that you're good with. And she throws your scythe over her shoulder. It hits the road behind you. And the truck just keeps pulling away. As you get closer and closer, you hear the ringing of a bell. And the gates open.
I'm not going to bother to threaten you. Just know that I'm filled with promise.
Oh, they love spirit here. Either you're going to be useful and you're going to put that spirit to work for the Citadel, or they're going to have a hell of a time breaking it. They want you to fight. You're going to do just fine here.
Save your breath. I've already been through it before. And then Achira just turns away.
And you watch as this makeshift truck rattles through, and there's two other vehicles, and they've pulled up behind you. And one of them has joined you on the road, and you hear the crackling of radios still. And you pull through. Lampwick, you're the one who sees it first. Kusanagi's back is to the flap of the tent. You see a figure on the back of a truck as it drives past, and you recognize it as Achira.
I get Kusanagi's attention and I turn him around or whatever it takes to point that out to him. We need to get her. What is she doing here? But she needs to stay safe. Kusanagi, that's it.
When was the last time you saw her?
I days, a week. I don't even remember. Longer than it should have been.
Well, let's go. I'll do what I can.
Can you take me to her, please?
I mean, I don't know, but we can try.
Well, let's go, and then we'll deal with whoever gets in our way. But I need to help her.
I mean, before you get any ideas, this place is beyond your imagination.
I know
of how well guarded it is. So I know you like to talk. Let's get where we need to go by talking.
Got it.
And do your two masked buddies understand that? Are you in charge of them, or are they in charge of you?
We have a mutual understanding. They won't get in my way. They won't stop me from doing what I came here to do, which is to broker.
And they won't act on their own without your orders.
I am under the understanding that they won't, but I can't guarantee anything. Like I'm sure you can't guarantee that. The same goes for your people.
I know that a lot of people here are very uneasy by the fact that they're even here. And to get to Achira, we may need to park them somewhere else.
Well, let's cross that bridge when we get there. I think we need to get going right now before we lose sight of where they're taking her.
Agreed.
You lead the way.
All right, I will follow the truck. I will nod to my 2 guards, basically, just to come with us.
The 2 guards immediately kind of fall in line. They give you enough space, but they continue to walk close enough that they could react should something go wrong. Lampwick, your 2 guards are not leaving you behind, but they stay close as well. But they give you all ample amounts of distance. They continue to walk with you. There does seem to be a lot of buzz around the Citadel. There is a large number of soldiers and guards and other individuals who have started to gather here, and it's a crowd, and they're sort of riled up, and that doesn't bode well for the situation, Kusanagi. There are public executions and other things that happen within the Citadel that are seen as forms of blood sport and entertainment. Dropping an individual that's been captured into a pin with a number of Romeros is considered a Friday night. So the way that people are reacting, and sort of maybe what the radio chatter, because you've had your radio, or rather you don't have a radio with you, but when you've been on the radio in the past, they usually start to kind of announce these things, and that's kind of the sense that you're getting, is that people are ready for a show. Yeah, that bell's been rung. And on the back of this truck is Achira. And when the truck pulls in front of one of the buildings, you would know immediately where they're taking her. It's the brig, and it is a series of holding cells that have been made inside of a steel box. I mean, this building is concrete and steel. It has no windows. It has only 2 entrances. Both are heavily guarded. It's no joke. Like, it's built like a brick shithouse, and there's not much that you can do to sneak in and out of there very easily. So it's through the door or no way in at all. And the 2 large steel double doors, like a barn, have a couple of enormous bracketed beams that are strapped into place and chained there. And there are guards on the outside. They open this up. It creaks open. This enormous makeshift apocalyptic truck just pulls in. A couple of individual trucks on the side stop, and these heavily armored Citadel soldiers jump off the back. And you see Inez on the back of this truck with Achira, and she's limping, and you can see a rag that has been wrapped heavily around her leg is soaked in blood. And you watch as she pulls out some keys and unlocks Achira's handcuffs. Now, Achira, she turns you and starts walking you towards the back of the truck. There are Citadel guards everywhere. It is easily a crowd of probably 50 people that has started to gather here. And while this is horrifying, there's something about being surrounded by 50 people that is sort of a rarity. And in this world, having that many living human beings around you has a strange comfort to it, even if you know that they're bloodthirsty and most likely here to watch you die.
Can I do a spot listen to see if I can recognize any faces in the crowd?
Absolutely.
Or a search, I guess.
Yeah, do a spot listen for me. It wouldn't be a search. Do a spot listen.
Make sure I don't have any of my difficulty stuff in there. All right.
One degree of success. There is a young man.
I was kind of hoping I could find Kusanagi or Lampwick in the crowd.
I understand. You don't see them yet. They're further back, so that wasn't part of what you're searching. But I am going to tell you, you do see familiar faces, but it's like grasping at straws. There is a young man here, though, that for some reason is staring very hard at you.
Achira looks back at him since he's doing heavy eye contact.
Yeah. He, everybody's real loud and sort of like whispering to each other. There's a general hum to the situation. This man has kind of a cruel look fixed on his face, and you're familiar with danger, and you're sensing that here. Like this person definitely wants to see you hurt. And that's there's some of that in the crowd where people are just excited, but it seems more generalized. You see a number of other individuals starting to move and mill about, but before you can do anything else, your hands are still handcuffed as she's cuffed you again once you were removed from the pipe, and she pushes you off the back of the truck. So I need you to make either a balance check, and we're going to see if you are able to catch yourself as you fall 3 or 4 feet off the back of this truck into the dirt.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have anything else to put on that. We will see how this turns out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's about what I was expecting. You do fall, and you take a pair of 2s to your damage check, your track. Does it push you over your threshold?
No.
No, you still got enough in there. Okay, so you've got a pair of 2s. You hit the ground, you scrape yourself up, and you bruise. You can feel it forming across the side of your cheek, but it isn't anything that's like going to hamper you in any way. But it's certainly uncomfortable. But thankfully, you were able to turn your body enough and kind of fall into your shoulder that it didn't really hurt you. It's just more damaging to your pride. Inez jumps down next to you, picks you up, and as you're picked up, you see both Kusanagi and Lampwick in the crowd.
Do I notice?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to push through the crowd.
Yeah, you both watched as Inez shoved Achira straight off the back of this truck, falling into the dirt. Looks real painful.
I'm following right behind Kusanagi, and if I see Achira's like face look in my direction, if I'm able to recognize that she sees me, I'm gonna make severe eye contact to let her know I see her.
All right. Well, there are rules for that sort of communication. So the first thing that I want you to do is to persuade. You can make a persuade check.
Okay.
And then Achira, I need you to make a detect motive check. Okay, there's 2 degrees of failure on both sides. Do you wish to do anything to alter or change these rolls?
Well, being surrounded by these a crowd of hostile people, some seem to be personally hostile towards me. Would this make this a location hazard?
Not yet.
Yeah. Then I have no competency points to use.
Is there anything that you wish to do, Lampwick? You can. I will remind you, you can spend competency points on other characters as well. So if you wish to give Achira competency points in this situation, there is a way for you to succeed here. And if it helps you, I will purchase failures from you and you alone at 25 risk apiece.
I am going to see if I can be economical with what I have and strike some kind of an hopefully effective middle ground. I am going to use 3 competency points on myself to make that into 1 success, which then makes that into 4 successes. And is this a shared thing? So like with my 4 successes with her 2 failures, does that combine in any way?
With 4 successes, you have managed to pass the threshold where you needed to personally succeed to be able to communicate something with a look. And you have 2 additional successes that I will use to remove Achira's failure, making it a wash.
Didn't I have an extra? I had an extra.
You
do.
Yeah. So
And
I'd like
so-
to use that now.
Now, with that makes Achira able to succeed at the detect motive check, as opposed to it being a wash, which still would have made it muddled. What are you trying to communicate, Lampwick?
I'm trying to communicate to her that I'm here with her and that she's not alone, and to keep it together, like that kind of like I'm here with you sort of a thing. I got you. To put her at ease and ground her, hopefully.
How do you react to this, Achira?
Achira understands what Lampwick is saying, turns her head to the side where you can see that she's wearing Arya's earring, and then looks back at him, and then looks away.
So I need you to make a spot listen check, please, Lampwick.
Alrighty.
Keeping in mind that she doesn't know the details, but she does know that, as far as she knows, Lampwick was the last person that Arya was with.
Masterfully done, Achira. I'm going to give you an additional competency point for being able to communicate this so perfectly and quietly, so you can carry an extra competency point. Lampwick, you do have 1 degree of success on your spot listen. You recognize it, you see it, and recognize it as Arya's earring, and she was wearing that earring.
I take that in, and I keep my same intention to just keep her, just to let her know I'm here. Stay cool, stay grounded. I'm here. I got you. I'm coming, and I'm continuing to approach, following Kusanagi.
Kusanagi,
have I made it to Ines yet?
Yeah, you're right up to Inez.
Okay, I want to go get right up close to her and basically say in her ear, whatever you hope to gain out of this, it can't be public. Before these people get too excited, we need to get her inside.
She looks to you. Yeah, as much as I'd like to drag her through the town square by 3 different horses going 4 different directions, somebody else is called dibs. So yeah, she's going into the brig. Try to break everybody up here. Do you know her, right?
I do. And I think it's the better tactical decision if you let me talk to her first.
I don't want to talk to the bitch anymore. And she turns and she kind of like moves over to Achira and just like starts kind of like roughly kind of pushing you towards these open double doors. Kusanagi is coming close now. All of you, minus your 2 guards, Lampwick. The guards that are outside of this hold their hands up, and they are not going to let those 2 masked individuals into this building.
I turn and I tell them I will come back out. Find a place nearby that they'll allow you to wait for me at, and I will be there.
They both look at each other kind of silently and then look back to you, and both of them just step aside and stand by the door.
Perfect. I follow. I'm right behind Kusanagi. I'm making sure that I don't get left out.
Okay, so all of you are ushered in. Achira, you're being walked through a very long corridor. There are what seem to be welded cages and scaffolding that have been stacked on top of each other. It's like the interior of a shipping warehouse, but all of these shelves, these strong, thick metal shelves are tied together with I-beams, and all of these I-beams are completely caged in. And so they're like levitating cages that are up off the ground, and you see individuals, ragged and filthy, sort of bedraggled and stretched out at the bottom of these cages. This is some sort of prison, and they have built it out of all of these resources to make these completely suspended iron boxes. And you're walked down this row, and at first there are only some very weak-looking individuals on the outskirts of this brig, But as you get further down, other individuals are conscious and yelling and battering cans and tin plates and things and making noise as you're being walked down this long corridor. And there's the hum of a generator somewhere, and there's a couple of very dim lights. Otherwise, there is no other light at all in here. You don't see any windows. You don't see anything else. The ground itself seems to be made out of fairly recently poured concrete, and it's in good condition. And so you're walking through, and you look to your right, Achira, and you see a figure suspended from a chain with their hands bound together in a thick leather bag that has been locked with a padlock. And you immediately recognize it as Juniper, who is hanging there with a ball gag in her mouth that she's biting down on with a leather strap that has also been locked on the back. And she's in this cell. They open a cell next to it, and they walk you into it.
I know that they took my weapons. Did they bother taking? I have a canteen and a flask of what smells.
Anything normal they took. They took everything other than the clothes on your back, and thankfully you were able to get that boot knife in there.
And the stuff I spent survival points on.
Yeah, that's right. All that stuff is still in your clothing. Now, you don't know how long you're going to have access to that. They're probably going to bring something else for you to wear, so just so you're aware, you still have everything hidden, but you were watching as all of these other captives passed by as you were walking down this corridor, and it seemed like they were wearing these very normal looking coveralls, and it seemed like a prison uniform almost. So you don't know how long you're going to have these clothes left to you. Juniper, you don't remember how you got here. It has been a while, at least a couple of days, and all you recall is waking up covered in blood and chained to the back of a truck as it was pulling down the road. Digger wasn't there. You blacked out again. And the individuals in the back of this truck with you seem terrified of you. They are keeping a distance, and they're not lax in the fact that they have these submachine guns pointed down at you. And the entire ride, they keep them trained on you. They had taken heavy cloth and they had gagged you. Your hands are chained together. And all you remember, somewhere in the back of your mind, is screaming and gunfire. When they brought you into the walls, they immediately changed out this ragged piece of cloth and gagged you to prevent you from biting. One of the individuals who brought you in is missing 3 fingers and has heavy gouges across his face, an entire black, sooted, covered patch covering where his eye once was. No one talks to you. You're brought into this brig, and you're chained from the ceiling. You're able to stand, but you're not able to move your arms to your side. They allow you to pull them forward and back, but you cannot bring them down. It's agony. They feed you twice a day, and then they put you back into this position, and it has been at least 24 hours since you were brought here. Nothing has changed until you see Achira brought into the cell next to you. Lampwick, Achira, Kusanagi, you recognize that Juniper is next to you. And to clarify any confusion that you may have, Michelle, everything that occurred while Olive was in charge happened off screen.
How many guards are here?
Currently, there are 5. Inez looks to you, Kusanagi. You want to talk to her? Talk to her. I'm going to be right here. And she points out to the hallway. The guards give you a little bit of space. They can still hear you, but they're armed. Lampwick, you're there. Achira, they don't take the handcuffs off you.
So Juniper and Achira are in separate suspended cages?
Yeah, so you're on a catwalk at this point. You walked up this series of steps up to this suspended level. The bottom level had some like minor offenders and things like that. They're not like serious. They're more like holding pens and changing rooms and showers. It looks like they just hose people down on the bottom levels. And then the top levels are where they house them. And so they're suspended, and they have these iron grates that are the floors. So you can still see through them. They can be easily cleaned. They're effectively cages. So Juniper is in the cage right next to this one, and she's got her arms chained up above her head, and she has a gag in her mouth.
I want to try to get one of the guards, pull one of the guards up, and just say, listen, I need to talk to both of these people, and they're not going to cooperate with her like that. And I gestured towards Juniper, because you need to bring me a box or something, and you need to take off her gag.
Look, she took and bit off 3 of Frank's fingers.
Well, that's because Frank doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Do you know what you're doing? If you can do this safely and you're a competent person, that's great. If not, I'm going to find somebody else who is. And then I'm going to tell Inez that you weren't up to the job.
All right. I'm up to the job, all right? I'll take her gag off, but you're going to... yeah, I'll take her gag off.
If she bites her fingers off, that's your own fucking fault, idiot.
He sort of like walks away, nodding. Some of the other guards are snickering as he walks over there, starts pulling through his keys, unlocks the cage with Juniper, is watching you the whole time, Kusanagi, and then punches Juniper square in the head, looking at you. So I am sorry, Juniper. You certainly are not able to dodge this. And I need you to put a 5, a 5, and a 3 onto your wound track.
Okay.
I think
my
it
damage
breaks
threshold is 5,
8.
so
5. Oh. He hit you too hard. Yeah. So you're gonna take 2 injuries here.
cool. Yes.
You had been mostly left unharmed, although they had you were bloodied, and you don't know what happened when Olive was in charge, but you thankfully didn't have any serious injuries. Now, however, he has hit you so hard in the head that you are blacking out, and it is ringing, and you definitely heard a crunch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you take those 2 injuries, and I'm going to give you a black die of difficulty to anything that requires thought or concentration until you're able to heal up as you have a concussion. And that is all, thankfully, that happens. You kind of pass out there for a moment. He takes the ball gag off, he unlocks it, and then he looks at you the whole time, Kusanagi, and puts it into his jacket, and then walks back out, closes the door, and locks it. And she hangs there for a good 3 or 4 minutes just sort of like drooling and not speaking.
Well, that didn't go the way that I wanted it to.
Up.
I'm gonna get as close as I can to Achira's, I guess, cage.
Achira's facing away and sitting. This swinging cage above a pit thing. Location hazard?
You are in a location hazard.
She's while all of this was happening with Juniper and all of that, attention was on her. Achira wasn't watching. She sat down with her back to everybody, kind of looking like she's sulking. She's trying to work the ragged metal inconspicuously out of her clothing.
Make a stealth check for me. And I'm not going to give you any black dice of difficulty here because you are skilled in this. So you can try to work that the piece of ragged metal out of your sleeve. It's about the size of a knife, right?
No. Think of like a soup can lid. Like this is literally something like for slashing. You can't pierce with it. It's not going to go through metal.
It's about
like
the size of a credit card. You're going to be able to cut something. Okay, yeah. Okay, great.
You would be able to palm it.
Yeah, you've got it, and you're working it through. Just make that stealth check. Yeah, so no problem. You've succeeded with 2 degrees of success. I will say that I need Kusanagi and Lampwick to both make spot listen checks. None of the guards seem to clock what you're doing. Otherwise, you would imagine they would have taken it away. Kusanagi, do you want to do anything about that catastrophic failure? No. Yeah, you definitely you're paying attention to Juniper in this moment and not watching at all what Achira is doing, which seems to be the theme for this encounter. Lampwick, do you want to let those 4 degrees of success or failure ride as well?
Yeah. I think by the time I approach, it's she had already done that.
Right. Everybody's watching Juniper, and it's the perfect moment, Achira, for you to get away with this scot-free. All right, so all of you are together.
We don't have a lot of time. I don't know what they're intending to do with you, but it's not going to be good. My guess is they'll probably make you fight each other to the death. Who knows? I've been here for a little while, and I got to tell you, you'd be surprised what these people are capable of. They try to be really disciplined, and one of the ways that they maintain discipline is by letting people take it out on each other.
Oh, can we leave? Can we just go though? Like this is I don't even know how I got here. It kind of sucks a lot of ass, and I kind of thought we were friends. No,
we are.
I'm not doing that.
Listen, you guys are good.
They seem to have a real hard-on with finding me. Any idea about that?
I've tried asking questions, but honestly, it's really just based on what I can observe, and they keep me very, very busy.
Kusanagi, who did they make you fight when you were brought here?
For some reason, they skipped over the tradition with me.
They did because they think you're valuable. They know you're valuable, and we know that you're valuable, and that's their way out, Kusanagi. You have to convince them that the both of them are valuable and are not expendable.
I can do that, but it's going to take time. For now, we need to buy ourselves hours, because at this point, I think you may even have minutes before they decide what they're going to do. There's another thing too. If you say that either of these two are important to the shepherds or to this peace process, that's another thing.
They are, absolutely.
In this case, like, the only leverage I have is saying that I'll be displeased and that I won't work. And that's honestly a pretty empty threat, because they know that eventually they'll get me to do what they want. But if you represent a bigger organization, maybe you can say, hey, these people are under our protection, and if you do anything to them, it's a declaration of war.
Right. It's that is actually the truth. You're not actually wrong about any of that. Achira and Juniper. Wow, I don't know how you guys ended up here looking like this. I don't know what the fuck happened since I saw you last. I wish we could catch up, but right now is not the time. We need to get you out of here.
Except for that time outside in the crowd, Achira has not looked at you, Lampwick. But she's
How do you react when you hear them talk? Like Kusanagi's saying some stuff right now that is information that I don't think either Juniper or Achira have really had. So how do you react when you hear this talk about the shepherds?
Well, did they have a name before? Like
No, yeah, it's a great point. So that you hear this name and you don't really know what it means. Okay, that makes sense.
Then I guess Achira would say the shepherds. Explain that in a way that I'd understand.
In due time. If there's time for that, Kusanagi, by all means, have at it.
There is a bit of a commotion on the steps that lead up to this section. You see Inez talking with a number of guards. They are individuals from the Citadel, and it's a small group of them. And they're all talking, and one of the individuals in the front is that younger man with the intense eyes that is at the front talking harshly to Inez, and Inez is looking over her shoulder back to all of you.
I'm gonna head towards Inez.
Yeah, I think that you need to. You're the only one of us that can actually calm that down, whatever it is.
So Kusanagi, you step out.
I'm gonna head down the catwalk towards where Inez is talking to this guy.
Did you want to add anything to that, Juniper?
Oh, just like a weird side note, is anybody wearing like a really big oversized coat? Or is that either Lampwick or Kusanagi wearing a large coat?
I'm not.
Son of a bitch. All right, never mind. No plan. That was my only plan. Go ahead.
I had a coat. I had a coat as a part of my normal equipment.
Probably not a Juniper-sized coat, though. If that was your
I was gonna do the 2-person and 1 coat plan, but that's not okay. It's fine. Different kind of game. Keep going.
No. It's perfectly acceptable. There is there's a few problems here. You are still chained above your hands. You're gonna have to get those keys or find another way to get out of them before you're able to really try to move through the cage at all. And there are 2 guards still outside. They're just not directly in your business right now. You think that they can hear most of what's being said, though, because this is, again, open air. And so, Kusanagi, you walk down towards the steps. Lampwick and Achira, you're still in the cage together, correct?
Yeah. Was I able to go inside the cage with her?
Well, the guards aren't stopping you from doing whatever you want, so you can be where you want to be.
I am still on the outside of the cage. I know at this point I feel like I know Achira, and unless you say otherwise, I feel like I would have a sense of her demeanor and her disposition towards me. And if she's closed off and shut down, I think Lampwick would notice that.
I'm going to say that is a fair bet, but let's have you make a detect motives roll. And Achira, if you wish to try to conceal any sort of animosity that you might hold in this moment, if that's actually something that you feel like is a truth for Achira, then I'm going to ask you to make a roll to sell it.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay. So, Lampwick, you're looking at
but
Achira.
She's not hostile.
Yeah, describe it.
She's standoffish. Mm-hmm. She's thinking. She's more concerned with her present circumstances but she's very aware of the fact that Lampwick is standing here healthy and whole, and that Arya was decapitated amongst Citadel activity.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem to be directed at you then, Lampwick. I mean, as Achira said, that's kind of what you're picking up. Mm-hmm. But there is clearly a lot of animosity and concern. It just, you're not feeling it like a laser focused at you. Is that fair, Achira?
Not laser focused at him, but she doesn't give a shit what he's feeling right now. Mm-hmm. At all.
I'm going to put my hand through the bars and I call out to Achira, please come here. just take my hand. Just come back to me for a moment. I'm here with you. I got you. Come back. Just for a moment, please.
Achira looks at his hand, and if there isn't something in it to give her to try to get away, she's not going to the hand.
Juniper, what do you do? You're still hanging, you're watching both of these two individuals interact. What do you want to do?
Pretty sure no one's gonna help me, so I'm gonna do that thing where I try to jump up and get my legs above my head and sort of use my feet to kick against the ceiling to pull the chain off the ceiling.
All right, so that is it's going to be a very difficult thing to do, but I'm going to allow you to try. Go ahead and make a lift pull check.
Okay. Difficulty dice?
Yeah, you're going to add 3 black dice of difficulty.
All right, I gotta get real lucky. Boop, 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 boop. Ah, it's worth a shot. That's my failure.
So, yeah, with that, you have 5 degrees of failure. Do you have any competency left over?
As Juniper, 1.
Okay.
So I can use it. I get 4.
Well, it's still going to be catastrophic. So I will offer you this opportunity. I will buy 2 of your degrees of failure for 25 apiece, or 1, and you could use your other to bring it down to 3. But if it doesn't get down to at least 3 degrees of failure, you're going to dislocate your shoulder.
Cool. Yeah, let's do like 3. Let's get it down to 3.
Okay. So do you wish to spend your final competency and sell?
Yes.
Okay. So I will take 25 more risk, and you will have 1 less failure to deal with, taking you to 3 degrees of failure. And all you do is you twist your arm. It doesn't cause any permanent damage, but it hurts. And you can't help but sort of scream out as you do a flip across the top of this cage and nearly very badly hurt yourself trying to pull the cage off. The guards kind of move forward, but you can tell that they are terrified of you.
Could I spend survival points to have, like, say the survival points are to get an item? Maybe that item is like 1 or 2 of the screws and the top of the chain, so like it's slowly coming loose, so I could try it again later.
I like the way you're thinking. You give me 100 survival points for 2 screws.
Oh yeah, I got a bunch of these things.
I'll start raising the prices then.
No. I've been saving it for this special moment.
You do knock loose 2 screws and they drop, and you're able to kind of start pushing them around with your feet. And you think that you could get them up into your hand if you tried. So like 2 of the screws are loose from the pad that is holding this chain to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're doing this. And Lampwick, you're trying to get Achira's attention. Achira, what are you doing?
While Juniper's like being so extra over there and getting all of the guards' attention and stuff, I wonder if, with people's attention on Juniper again, if at that moment Achira could rush forward directly into Lampwick's face and go, "Aria, explain. No bullshit."
Arya's dead.
No shit. Tell me something I don't know about what happened to her, Lampwick.
What do you know? What don't you know?
I asked
While
you
this is
direct question.
happening, Kusanagi, you're speaking. Inez is there. What did you say to Inez?
Inez, you're gonna have to cancel Thunderdome or whatever it is you have planned. I'll do a midnight showing of Full Metal Jacket, whatever it takes to calm these people down. But Lampwick just gave me some critical information about who these people are, and if we do anything to them, it's gonna cause a lot more problems than it's gonna solve.
Listen, I'm on your side with this. You know, Rowan is pretty dead set on handling this herself, so nobody wants to get into her business. And I don't know. I gotta let him talk to her. I'm just gonna let him through though. She points to one of the soldiers, and this young, kind of intense-eyed kid, 20 or something, passes through, starts
Well, hold
walking.
on. I don't know if I want to let this happen.
Yeah. If you want to stop him, you can.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to block with my body and say, hold on a second. Rowan has history with these people, and I know she does. I think it's better that either me or Rowan talks to them first. I don't know who this guy is.
His name is Omar. He's
Okay.
got business with her.
Business with the kid?
Achira.
Ah.
Yeah. The kid looks at you. He's a young, kind of severe-faced, healthy-looking, strong young black man, but he's got like this haunted, kind of dead look in his face, and he looks up at Achira. You want to talk to me? You want to talk to me about history, Kusanagi?
As long if either of these two is harmed in any way, it's going to be a real problem. Just letting you know that right now.
I just want her to say one thing to me. I'm going to ask one question and then I'm done with her. You can watch. I don't give a shit.
All right,
and then,
go ahead.
Then we can go watch tapes or whatever you want to do, old man. And he just kind of brushes right past you. He walks up the steps and gets closer to the cage. You're doing this now, Achira, and you're in Lampwick's face. And this young man steps forward. Achira.
Achira stands and looks him in the face.
The case has the following constitutional parts.
He looks you in the face and steps forward. Looks to you, Lampwick. Do you do anything?
I'm locking eyes with Achira. I'm still there with her. I'll turn to look at him and kind of glance him up and down to see if he's a threat, if he has any weapons.
He does have a sidearm, and he has a boot knife, but the gun is not drawn.
But he said Achira, right?
He said Achira. And so
Does
you
Achira
turn.
recognize?
You don't, no.
She's just staring at him.
You notice that he begins crying as he stares at you. You look exactly the same. You haven't changed. It took us 2 weeks. First Amanda died, then Nora. Marcus tried to run, but it didn't work out.
Omar?
Only Faith and I made it. And we didn't make it out without having to find something to eat. All because you left us there. You abandoned us in that apartment. You left us to die. They died because of you.
They were going to die before I ever took you there.
I'm not dead, Achira. Neither's Faith. And that is where we're going to end our session tonight.